Hi, Lisa. Hi, everybody. My name is Jack Woodyard. I came to Japan about 23 years ago to study at Hombu Dojo. Before that, I studied for about 3 years with Yoko Okamoto and her husband, Chris Mulligan, in Portland, Oregon. That was before they moved to Kyoto. And then for about 6 months, under Ikeda Sensei in Boulder. I came to Japan more because I had just fallen in love with Aikido. I started Aikido as a way to improve my skiing. I thought if I learned how to fall better, and if I learned how to better balance, I would become a better skier. But pretty soon, I was spending far more time doing Aikido than I was skiing. And after being at Boulder and seeing the differences in the Aikido, I thought, well, it'd be really cool to go to Japan and discover more about the art and its origins. So here I am in Japan. I don't train much anymore, just because of injuries that are not Aikido related. I have a lot of sport injuries from over the years. Japanese was my major in university, so I had a nice foundation that way. And when I arrived, it wasn't too difficult to find Hombu Dojo. And my first class, obviously I was nervous. I remember climbing the stairs, having no idea what to expect, and just looking around me and trying to do what the other people were doing. But my first class was funny because nobody knew me. I just came out of nowhere. I didn't even tell my teachers I was moving to Japan. So as you know, class always starts with a bow after warming up. It starts with a bow, and then we warm up, and we choose our partners. Well, nobody knew me, and I was this white belt, tall, gangly white guy, and nobody wanted to train with me except for this old guy, and he must have been, 85 or 90 years old. I mean, he looked older than most people I knew at the time, as a 27-year-old straight from America. And so I was being careful with him, and every time I initiated a strike, I would slowly initiate the strike, and I was focusing more on being careful than I was on my technique. And at one point, he grabbed me by my collar and pulled me in and told me to either train with heart or not train at all. And so I gave him about 80%. I relaxed a little bit and focused more on my technique. And it was funny because I'll never forget the feeling of him taking my balance and just not being able to find my equilibrium and just sliding to the floor in this feathery glide. That's when I realized I know nothing. Despite not training anymore, I still feel that Aikido has given me tons of lessons in my life, both from teachers and from the things I've had to figure out myself, which is probably one of the first lessons that I got from Aikido, is that, when teachers teach, they show the technique, and then we do the technique. There's not a lot of talking. There's not a lot of explanation. And from that, I kind of feel that, when we let someone walk us through a problem, we cheat ourselves. Most of our lessons lie in struggling and trying to figure stuff out. Teachers will throw you, and you're supposed to feel it. You're supposed to watch it. And this opens up our minds and increases a level of sensitivity that we wouldn't have if they walked us through it. And if they walked us through it, I often think that I wouldn't have had much fun doing it, number one. And I definitely wouldn't have been able to really feel my partner. That was just a huge thing that came out. And I see this in my work too, whether I'm a copywriter, creative director, copywriter, and whether I'm designing campaigns or writing ads or branding stuff. It's all about figuring out every single job is a new job. Just like every single partner is a new partner. Every single time you do a technique, it's a whole new experience in doing the technique, and it's only that time that you have to do it. And the first time you do it, the first time you practice the technique on, will never be like the third time or the 100th time or the 1000th time. And that first answer is never easy. So I think that was one of the first things I got from Aikido that I don't think in America, at least, where people don't force you to figure stuff out as much. My teachers all did. I'm sure most of the American Aikido teachers do as well. But I think it's part of the art. Another thing that I really thought about was focus. We don't. I don't know about most dojos, but every dojo I've been in, there's really no talking on the mat unless you're the teacher. And when I train with someone who's a talker, it drives me crazy. Because I just think, wow, when are you going to stop talking? I used to train with this guy who's a really nice guy. He's senpai, Dai senpai actually, but he didn't like certain teachers, and so he would badmouth teachers while he was throwing me, and the teacher would come by and ignore him and throw me. But it was unnerving at times. When we focus, when we don't talk, we give our partner our full attention, and this is another one of the lessons I learned that Aikido has brought into my life. The people you're with deserve your full attention. Whether I'm sitting with my daughter or talking to a client or sitting on the sofa with my wife, that kind of focus on the moment, Aikido is great for that. So yeah, there's that. There's another one. The next one I think I learned was that training hard isn't all it's cracked up to be, that you have to train smart. When I was training in Boulder, when I first started training, there was a woman teaching the class. I wasn't there long enough to really get to know everybody, but I remember I was doing a tenkang, and when I would do my tenkang, if I was using my left foot as a pivot, my right foot would fly out and go behind me and reverse for the other side. But I remember this woman stopping me and saying, you're wasting a ton of energy by not making this movement more compact and then moving your foot behind you, sort of thing. And so just being a technician, and I think all of my teachers were adamant that we're technicians in Aikido. And it's funny because this once again comes across in my work as well. I can easily write a 2,000 word story or a really bad idea, but when I get rid of the slop and make stuff concise and smart, it really improves my work, and that I have to say comes from Aikido as well. I think the last two are probably the most important: the patience and humility. Above all else, Aikido has probably taught me patience and humility. When I first came to Japan, I had this, I was like every American. I thought I was better than I was. I thought I was smarter than I was. I thought my Aikido was good. That was gone fast. In fact, I think Lisa probably had a hand in putting me in my place a couple of times. However, while the schooling was tough and painful at times, it really taught me a lot about patience and being humble. And to this day, I still thank all those people, all my partners and senpais and senseis who really helped me become a better person that way. That's just changed my life in so many ways. And finally, controlling perception. Our art, our Aikido art, all our art lies in perception, right? And how we experience the world really affects how we interact with people. It's really easy to distort reality to please ourselves or displease ourselves. And when we do that, we create friction. When you train with someone, it's harder to distort reality to make yourself feel better. If you're not moving someone, you're just not moving them. And I remember as a young Aikidoist thinking, oh, he's not taking Ukemi for me. Yeah, it turns out I just sucked. But by sucking, I think I got better when at least to the point where, as long as I was training. So that's been super huge in my life. Some of the things that have come out of Aikido have been super fun. Some of the teachers, Aikido led me to practicing Zazen, and Zazen has definitely made me a better person. I will leave with one story though. That's probably my favorite Aikido story. So when I was in Oregon, the teacher never folded their own hakama, and I remember I had just gotten my shodan. I was feeling good about it, and I had my hakama, and I was training, and class was over. It was Endo Sensei's class, and I went up to Endo Sensei after class because he was folding his hakama, and I offered to fold his hakama. So he looked at me, as only you can do. Just gave me that look and said, "Let me see you fold yours first. I want to fold it properly." So I started folding it, and yeah, I'm nervous. You know, I'm shaking. I'm so nervous. Finally, after letting me flub this up a little bit, he took my hakama, stood up, shook it out, and then folded my hakama for me, tying it in a nice little knot up top, and then handed it to me and said, "Go on." And so I'm walking back to the group of people. This is a Hombu Dojo. I'm walking back to the group of people with my folded hakama, and people are looking at me like, "Dude, why did Endo Sensei fold your hakama?" It was at the time it was super embarrassing, but now I just think, wow, that's kind of cool. But it was super embarrassing. So that's what I got for you. Another day goes by where I don't miss training. My injuries just don't allow for it so much anymore, and they're not Aikido related, not all of them. But I hope you guys have a great Aikido career. I mean, yeah. So enjoy. Thanks.